Hello, my friends. When we talk about Ayurveda versus traditional ways in the Western world that we think about nutrition, we can look at the two and compare the differences between them. So, in Western nutrition, when we talk about balance, we have been taught about the food pyramid and different ways of eating depending on carbs and proteins. And this is generalized for the entire population of people. And they make broad generalizations for different demographic groups of people. And we look at nutrients in food, and we make good or bad judgments depending on what we think our body needs according to these generalized statements for the population and given demographics. We look at food, and we're starting to look at the mental and emotional health, that connection with food in Western culture. They don't really look at food combinations, and things are based on averages and not on an individual basis. Things are measured by calories, and we look at calories and grams of fat and things like that. In Ayurveda, we have a different type of philosophy where we're thinking about balance based on someone's prakriti, their constitution, their dosha, their specific body composition. And we're also taking into consideration the vikruti, so their current state of imbalance. We also are looking at the season. So what time of year is it? What is fresh during this time of year? What is in season? Is it cold outside or is it hotter outside? These types of things matter in Ayurveda. The age of a person is taken into consideration. As one gets older, Vata dosha usually increases. So really looking at an individual on an individual level is how Ayurveda approaches appropriate balance. And when you're looking at food, no food is good or bad. It depends on the person and their level of digestion. If their digestive fire, their agony is really strong, then they're really able to digest most things. There's not really bad food. We look at food and how it affects the mind and the emotions. So in a previous discussion, I've talked about sattva, rajas, and tamas, the different states of mind, the manas, gunas, the attributes of the mind. And Ayurveda really takes into consideration the connection between food and the mind and emotions. We know that if we eat a lot of heavy foods, we end up feeling heavier and slower in the mind, slower in the body. In Ayurveda, we also look at digestion as being the primary factor. So you are not what you eat, you're only what you digest. And that's the approach in Ayurveda. So we look at hard to digest combinations of food. So we're looking at how do we optimize digestion as a primary focus and make elimination efficient. Basically just focus on digestive health and doing that on an individual basis depending on the person's constitution and current state of imbalance. And that is why they have the different doshas and the different types of doshas, so that way you can determine the various nutritional needs and whether you need cooling or warming foods, whether you need something more heavy to balance you out. If you're feeling too light and, too much vata, you need to balance that with some of the kapha dosha type of foods. The kapha foods will help balance that air and space with the grounding earth and water elements of kapha. So it all kind of works harmoniously together as a system on an individual basis. And then, of course, when we're looking at food, we're not measuring in calories in Ayurveda. We're looking at prana. So we're always trying to focus on how can I get the freshest food, and how can I eat the most prana, because prana helps us have life force energy. So it's just, those are the differences between Western nutrition and Ayurvedic nutrition, to give you a little bit of an idea about just the philosophy in Ayurveda. So I'm hoping that gave you a good baseline, and I'm sending you love and positive vibes.